Welcome back to another video, you guys. So today we're going to have the final season stat update for your Seattle Seahawks. But quickly, before we do that, let's take a look at the playoff matchups that we have for wildcard weekend. There you guys see the first matchup we have is Jacksonville against Oakland. The Jags and the Raiders will be playing each other. Then the Cardinals and the Packers. So yes, the Cardinals and the Rams both make the playoffs. So that is perfect for the NFC West because now I have a chance to go against the Rams if the Giants lose. That's who we'll be playing. And the Titans and the Patriots are another AFC matchup, and then the Cardinals and the Packers play each other. But hopefully the Rams will win so I can play them in the playoffs because I'd really like to do that. But if they don't, then that's fine. We'll play the Giants, and then, of course, the Falcons will play either Green Bay or Arizona, depending on who wins. So our division definitely played really good this year. Jacksonville and the Raiders, that should be a good matchup too. The Texans and, I can't quite remember who's the other playoff team in the AFC to play. But anyway, with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the stats for Russell Wilson. 40 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. Definitely not the best year in terms of picks, but he did have 4,429 yards passing on 513 attempts, went 61% throwing the ball down the field, and his longest pass was 80 yards. He was sacked 55 times this year, so that's definitely a lot. But, I mean, what can you expect? No matter how good the Seahawks offensive line gets, they just always love to give up sacks on Russell Wilson. Averaged about 276 yards per game passing the ball, had a 100.5 passer rating on the year, which is very good for a quarterback rating. Most times it's usually in the very high 90s, but here Russell Wilson did a fantastic job on the season. Trevon Boykin got a little bit of playing time as well. He threw 2 interceptions and only completed 4 passes. Looking at rushing stats, Thomas Rawls led our team with 1,000 yards. Would have had definitely more had he not been out the last 5 weeks of the season, but Shaquille Middlebrooks definitely stepped up his game, dropping over 257 yards rushing in the final one to put him at 315 on the season. Russell Wilson finishes with almost 400 yards. Doug Baldwin led the team in receiving once again for the 5th straight year. 85 receptions, 1,073 yards. And then Jimmy Graham was right behind him with 65 receptions for 1,017 yards. But both of them got over 10 touchdowns. Graham had 13 touchdowns on the year, which is fantastic. Doug Baldwin had 10 as usual. Paul Richardson had an alright year, but definitely a down season compared to what he had last year when he was over 1,000 yards. But Graham was injured a lot again. And Tyler Lockett definitely came back and played strong football after his injury at 666 yards. I still can't re-sign him. I mean, I can, but I'll only have 500,000 left in cap space, and I won't be able to pick up anyone else, and definitely not be able to sign my rookies, which would not work out for us. So I think I'm just going to have to let him go, which sucks, but hopefully we can draft another wide receiver. Maybe sign a low veteran free agent for a small contract. We'll see what happens there. Looking at blocking and who gave up sacks, Richie Tomlinson led our team in sacks with 17. Buck Rasmussen, who doesn't start anymore, had 12. And Zach Martin gave up no sacks in all 16 games he played. Defensive stats now, Bobby Wagner led the team in tackles with 114. And he also had 4.5 sacks and 2 interceptions. So Wagner definitely had a really good season. Definitely want to keep those tackles up there though. Earl Thomas had 86 tackles and 4 interceptions as well. And Tavares McFadden, our standout rookie corner, had 53 tackles on the year. I'm very happy with the way he played as our third cornerback. Quarterback sacks, Frank Clark obviously broke the NFL record with 24.5 sacks on the year. He had a fantastic year. And then Michael Bennett definitely had another great year with 11 sacks. Wagner had 4.5 sacks. And then, of course, the rest of our defensive line did all right. But Frank Clark and Michael Bennett definitely played great, and re-signing Frank Clark was a priority, and that obviously worked out well. Eli Apple led our team with 6 interceptions. Chancellor had 5, Sherman had 4, and then Tavares McFadden had 3, obviously, and all 3 of them were pick sixes too, which is crazy. Pass deflections, Eli Apple had 9 on the season, Wagner had 5, so Apple, like I said, had a really good first season. So it seemed like last offseason, the guys we added and stuff like that just worked out perfectly for us. Block kicks, we didn't have any. Safeties, we didn't have any either. Defensive touchdowns, we had quite a few. Obviously, McFadden had all 3 of his own touchdowns, and then our other defensive backs had a couple touchdowns like Sherman and Apple. Looking at kick returns, we all know Tyler Lockett, when he went down, he had a kick return for a touchdown before he went down. Westbrook had 784 yards kick returning. Kick returns weren't really his best thing. He was best at returning punts. He had 2 punt returns for touchdowns, 792 returning yards. He was just really good this year, and I think he definitely made the Pro Bowl as a returner. I don't really know how to check that. Looking at awards now, Aaron Rodgers won MVP of the season. First time in 2 years Russell Wilson doesn't win it. He had one back-to-back, but now Aaron Rodgers gets his own. Or I think it's like his third MVP, either his third or second. I can't quite remember. Dan Quinn wins Coach of the Year, though, over Pete Carroll. Not really surprised there, because, you know, Madden does not want to let Pete Carroll win anything. Defensive Player of the Year does not go at all to Frank Clark. Clark only got to number 5. I'm honestly really disappointed in Madden, the way they ranked this up. Why would they put, I mean, linebackers, Kwan Alexander, Deion Jones, I know they all had high tackles, but Mike Daniels, he had 4 less sacks than Frank Clark, and I don't know what Aaron Donald did that made him so special this year, but Frank Clark definitely should have won Defensive Player of the Year. That record's been standing there for too long anyway. Rookie of the Year goes to Josh Rosen, quarterback for the 49ers. No surprise there. I mean, the Niners are terrible, but then they went up really high in win percentages and stuff like that because of him. We don't have any players on Offensive Rookie of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Arden Key, pass rusher for the New York Giants. Tavares McFadden, you guys see right there, is at number 7. So he was up there too to win it. I think if he had more interceptions, then he would have gotten there. Buda Baker's in there too, one of my favorite safeties. Best running back goes to Eddie Lacy. Best QB went to Aaron Rodgers. Best wide receiver goes to Julio Jones. And 13-3 Atlanta Falcons, Mike Evans right there. And then Doug Baldwin was ranked at number 3 for it. Baldwin's always been up there in the top 5 in all 3 years that we've played in Madden, so this is not really much of a surprise. Best offensive lineman will go to our own Zach Martin, so at least we win some award. Unless if we win any more defensive awards, but we'll have to check that out as well. But Martin definitely had a fantastic year for us. He didn't really give up a lot of sacks, but had a lot of holding calls. Best defensive lineman goes to Mike Daniels, not even Frank Clark. That is even more disappointing to me. I don't understand how Madden has its logic with this stuff, but I guess they don't want to give Frank Clark a record-setting year in award. And then, of course, best corner goes to Desmond Trufant, and then Steven Gostkowski wins Kicker of the Year. But that'll do it for this video. Leave a like, subscribe, and comment. It's RNF here. God bless every single one of you guys, and I'm out. Peace.